as a bear in the woods. Right, come on you fatty. Come on fatty. I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there. Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room. And we're on the way there. Ignore the farm. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of... You know. Singers, James, singers I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on! Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road. Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it. I might be going mad.
Across the pond, we jump for a classic Canadian circuit from Spain last week with plenty of runoff and gravel to catch the competitors if they overstep the limits. However, Circuit Villeneuve takes a very different approach. Walls everywhere you look. Who will flirt with the tight confines of this circuit and master the Wall of Champions to come out on top? We're about to find out as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Camel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joey Atterbury, and with me in the booth is Ozzy Puaka. Behind the scenes is our director, Adam Lindgren, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Always a classic on the Formula One calendar, but multi-class racing will be tight here. Let's find out a bit more about this place with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Host of the Canadian Grand Prix for over 40 years, this track's popularity among fans refuses to wane. Although it has gone through a few alterations in its history, the nature of its layout has remained pretty much the same. That nature, of course, is that its 14 turns are mostly chicanes, split up by long straights to add up to a 2.7-mile street course-like canyon of a track. These 4.3 kilometers are mainly made up of actual streets on the man-made Ile Notre Dame, though portions are specifically built for the racetrack. But whether or not fans consider it a true street course, the close barriers that line the majority of the track don't care what you think. Places like the exit of Turn 4 and Turn 9 frequently collect the greedy. But these pale in infamy to the notorious Wall of Champions. Named for its penchant to collect F1 World Champions, the corner itself is called Quebec. Regardless, it's a finicky and tight chicane with a critical corner exit, so drivers are tempted into edging the car as close as they dare to the concrete. Despite the numerous heavy braking zones, passing can be difficult at times for certain types of cars. Often, attrition or cut course penalties play a bigger part in who finishes where. While sports cars and NASCAR have both made stops here, this place is mainly known for its history with Formula One. Named after what is easily Canada's most popular driver in the International Open Wheel Series, this semi-temporary circuit looks like it's actually here to stay for a long, long time.
Well, this place is definitely known for its open wheel racing and I guess more recently NASCAR as well. But Ozzy, tell us a little bit more when we put multi-class cars on here.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, Joey. It's gonna be splendid. It's one of those dreams and nightmare scenarios where some people will definitely have nightmares of these walls that are so creeping up on you and the difficulty that will be multi-class traffic here. And other people, they will be able to fulfill their wildest dreams, perhaps in a circuit where raw pace is of course important, but what is also important is staying out of trouble.
Well, I think it's going to be pretty hard to stay out of trouble with all of the tight walls that we got here at this place, and going to be doing 40 minutes out here on the racetrack. Round 3 of 12, this Camel GT series just really getting going here this season. Open setups for all of the competitors to tweak and tune their race cars as best as they see fit. No spare car, so that means any damage they will have to live with or come down to pit road and get that fixed at a time penalty. Drive-through penalty at a 17x, disqualification at 25x. I don't think we're going to see really any of that come into play. I think the cars are going to pick up heavy damage if they hit the walls out there. And talking about our points championship now, we've got 2 classes of cars, starting off with our GTP Championship right now. It looks like Michael de Turk stands on top, but look at how narrow it is right now between himself and second place Aitor Sintez Galindo. Gonna have to keep an eye on those 2 competitors, and it really is tight throughout the top 5 with Farron Grau, Timothy Reed, Sean Campbell all there. But I mentioned this is just round 3 here. This championship is going to definitely dive a little bit deeper once we get more rounds under our belt. And Ozzy, I believe you've got our GTO points.
Yes, sir, I do. Jouko Leskela is in the lead here. As many expected, he has been absolutely rapid throughout last couple of seasons, with Arturas Kundelis in second place and Timothy Vaughan in rounding out the top 3. Hugh Haycox in fourth. You got Uwe Trengride in fifth. Then Franco Scuri, Andreas Schuster, Yuri Giesen, and in ninth place, Ian Haycox and Javier Del Olmo rounding out the top 10. And I should mention, once we are talking about Audi points, Ville Ruola is making his season debut here. So he's going to be one driver who can definitely challenge Jouko Leskela. And it's going to be Battle of the Finns here. Haven't seen that one in a while.
No, haven't seen that one in a little bit. And right now, Ozzy, we've got cars on track, and they're just starting to make their way around, completing their first timed lap out there. Qualifying is 8 minutes long, but only 2 laps are good here for everybody. And looks like the first competitors are starting to put them down. Michael de Turk, our current points leader right now, provisionally on top with a 122.3. See as the other times come in. Laust Olsen right now, second. Seamus Power third, but really, these cars just getting up to speed, and I'm curious which is going to be faster, the first or the second lap.
It's always a question of how well you do and how well your car is balanced. Technically, the first lap should be a little bit quicker because of the way the tires work, but if you can't quite get the tires up to temp on the first lap, then, and if you take the first lap a little bit like tentatively trying to stay out of the walls, which is always an issue, trying to bank the first lap, then yeah, you have a chance to be quicker on the second lap. So it's not more, I'm not sure about the car itself, is it quicker on first or second, but I'm almost willing to bet that the second lap will be quicker for most drivers because they will be taking more risks in that lap and trying to really push those limits, as we see Michael de Turk heading to the final hairpin. Not the hairpin, the chicane.
Yeah, through the wall of champions. See how close he gets, pretty close up there, and he's looking purple right now. Faster than his current lap, and let's see what he jumps up to. A 122.261 improves his own time out there. This is Laust Olsen. Oh, you see how close some of these cars and drivers are going to get to that tire and wall bundle out there, known as the Wall of Champions, that final chicane that you were just mentioning, Ozzy.
Yeah, and hopefully nobody goes through the Wall of Champions, because that would be really unfortunate for their race. Meanwhile, Aitor Sintez Galindo takes the provisional pole, and Jouko Leskela has his second lap going now, and he is not currently on pole position in the Audis. He's sitting in third place, and that means he's got 2 more drivers to overtake. Let's see how the last corner goes. Bouncing over the curbs nicely, going to the left side of the track, then the center, and where will he jump? Where will this time hit? 132.4. He takes the provisional pole only by 3/100ths of a second before Uwe Trengrade jumps to the provisional pole in the Audis. 132.2. The Norwegian is here to spoil the Finnish party.
Wow, look at the times being laid down in GTO right now. This is Ville Ruola trying to complete
Close
his
enough.
lap here. I know, I'm sorry, Finland. Let's refer to you,
No, it was
Ozzy.
good. It was good. It was
No, educate me. I would like to know.
good. Ville Ruola.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you were correct.
Okay, all right. Well, he
32.5.
jumps up, looks like, 32.5, up to 4th position. Actually, really good second lap.
Yeah, and he's as we are watching now. I believe that's Michael de Turk now coming across the line, and then we'll jump to one of the drivers left, Martin Krejcik, who is in 9th place, and he will improve to 133.3, and that will still keep him in 9th place. So it's not an improvement position-wise, but it is an improvement time-wise, and I'm sure he'll be happy about that as we are watching the number 27 go around the track. Victor Santana. I wonder if he plays guitar.
You'll have to ask him if he's brothers with Carlos out there. Is going through the final hairpin, try to get that launch off of the exit there, put the power down on that Audi, and actually looks like he's having trouble shifting that car a little bit, spitting a bunch of flames out the side of his Audi, and looks like he will be able to sneak this lap time in, and this is the top speed area of this racetrack, down the Casino Straight, as it's known, and then you got to get hard on the brakes through this final chicane. It's going to be an action spot all day. You see him wag the tail on that Audi, keep the throttle down. Let's see if he improves what his lap time is out there. A 137.1 won't jump him up the board at all. Looks like he will stay 16th down there in GTO, and I think for the most part that's going to wrap up qualifying. I think there's a couple more cars out there on track, but they're not going to be able to complete their lap from what it looks like, and we will have our official starting grid for this round. Aitor Sintez Galindo, you mentioned it, Ozzy. He stole away that pole on his second lap. 1 minute 22.23 compared to Michael de Turk, second place, 122.26. Only 300ths of a second separating our top two. Aaron Humphrey there in third place. Fabian Youngbluth there fourth. Seamus Power fifth. Laust Olsen sixth. Timothy Reed, Brendan Lim eighth. Martin Krejcik ninth. John Keith there in the 10th place. Pablo Suarez 11th. Oli Marler. Tommy Kaleo Kuhala there in 13th place. I believe there is one or two more. Yes, Ivan Ayuso and Jason Clapper are going to be rounding out the GTP cars.
Yes, that's the Nissans. And how about the Audis? Well, it's Uwe Trengride, who we've seen on all of the classic championships, really here, a mainstay in here. Taking the pole position in the Audi class alongside him will be Jouko Leskelä. Javier Del Olmo starting in third place, while Ville Ruola, protege of famous Joni Hagner, is in fourth. Alex Ott is in fifth, Jose Delgado in sixth, and it's Arturas Gundelis, surprisingly low, only seventh. Let's see if he can climb up the order as the race progresses. Jack Davids Pickett 8th, Ralph Zeibelt 9th, and Ian Haycox will be rounding out the top 10, and then we'll see the second, well, we won't see the second place of Audis. Here we go. So we'll go to the next guys, Philip Savoy in the 11th and Rob Olenek in 12th. Jamie Hemmelsmith 13th, Jim McGill 14th, Kevin Binkley 15th, Victor Santana 16th, then it's Hugh Haycox and Carlos Fonseca, neither of them who got qualifying times. So that means we got a lot of drivers here in this field, 33 in total, and it's going to be an exciting race, Joey.
33 in total, and something to note, I believe this season has split every single race. That means there's been over 55 entries every week out here, and got to split it into multiple races, and we've got the top split here, and looks like we're getting all of the cars gridded up right now. Aitor Sintez Galindo on our pole, Michael de Turk second. I'm going to have a split start here. The GTP cars will run away just a little bit. Then we'll get the GTO cars following here. And we do have a short pace lap here, making sure we got everything up and running. And actually taking a look at the weather, pretty cool right now. It's a nice April morning, 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 67 degrees on the track. So nice, cool temperatures. The competitors don't have to worry about the hot track playing into effect at all, and the safety car is going to go straight here not take the final chicane and line them up 2 by 2. The number 9 car has the field in his hands, and an early jump from Aitor Sintez Galindo gets him nicely in front of the field, in front of Michael de Turk. Then Aaron Humphrey is going to slot into third, and pretty uneventful through turn 1 here in the GTP cars, and they all escape through turn 2 as well. Let's head on over to the GTOs.
Yes, and it's Uwe taking the lead right after the start. Jouko Leskala in second place, Javier Del Olmo in third, and Ville Ruola in fourth before Alex Ott is running out the top 5. Let's see if they can all make it through the first couple of corners. It's treacherous with cold tires, long braking distances. There's one spin. That's Jose Delgado in the number 16 who spins around but is able to keep it going and rejoins in the back of the queue.
Yeah, it's still really clean from all of the GTP cars. Actually, very single file right now, but it is Aitor Sintez Galindo with that initial jump over Michael de Turk is in control of this race. However, Michael right tucked up on the back right now, as well as Aaron Humphrey and Fabian Jungbluth. See kind of a Aaron Humphrey's problem on the brakes, but somehow saved it.
Trouble in Audis. We got Javier Del Olmo who started in position number 3. He's going very slowly around the racetrack right now in car number 5. He seems to have an issue. He was already going slow earlier on, and it doesn't seem like he's got any major damage either. Might have been a slowdown penalty, but that took a long while to clear, and I wonder if he made the old mistake of starting with qualifying fuel or something, and hence by letting everybody past. Whatever the case, Javier Del Olmo is in a real trouble, and you can see it here. He's just letting everybody go by and just shortcutting through the grass, and for no real reason, he's just letting everybody go by.
Oh, very curious, and have to keep an eye on that number 5 car if he gets back going up to speed this race, or maybe he's got a little bit of a technical problem going on. And look at this battle out front. Michael de Turk really starting to apply the pressure to our leader, Aitor Sintez Galindo. And tell you what, Michael had a look down into turn 1 at the beginning of this lap, so he is definitely up on it. He feels like he's got the speed underneath him to take over this race.
Indeed. And let's see if Michael de Turk can now harass Sintez Galindo into a mistake. It's a very interesting psychological battle also, because in a track like this, in a street circuit, well, it's more of a park circuit, but it operates like a street circuit. You really want to get that pace going early on and get into that rhythm. It's most important thing here.
Yeah, it really is, and you see Michael really use the slipstream to his advantage. Oh! Gets way out of shape coming out of the wall of champions. Oh, that was Aitor to slip away, and oh, we got big problems further in the back coming out of the wall of champions. I think I see John Keefe spun around, and problems for multiple cars in GTP, and we're going to have to watch out because the GTO cars will be coming through here in just a matter of time. Have to take a look.
It's just a matter of seconds, and let's hope they can avoid all the calamity. And we'll see a replay of it here. And it all started with John Keefe, who went into the corner a little bit too hot. You can see it here as they come towards the final chicane. So he's gonna brake, and it's all gonna be fine up until the second apex of the corner, so to speak. If you want chicanes to have apexes. So he goes wide here, hits the curb, gets tagged, and then isn't able to keep it going and just gets ran over by Pablo Suarez, who really wasn't expecting slow cars at the exit of the corner. And if we jump on board of him here, yeah, this is good. So you can see how he is just tuned in, dialed in into the final chicane, and then just doesn't expect this really. Doesn't expect the car to be so slow, and just, I don't know, he was probably expecting the car to pull one side and taking evasive action to the inside, and that never ended up happening. So he was kind of predicting something that didn't happen, Joey. At least that's what it looked like to me.
Well, and I think Pablo was expecting the car to accelerate a little bit rather than decelerate further, and you're right, it just caught him off guard. But check this out. This is a battle for first place, and I know we're seeing all the same paints out there. We're working on getting it loaded up on our side of things, but things are just kind of looking rather snarky and similar out there, and this looks like a battle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the racetrack. Twins, triplets. What is 5 times, Ozzy?
5 times, hang on, quintuplets would be, no, that's 4. I don't know. I'm a commentator, but oh, that's a mistake there by Jouko Leskela, and he took a slowdown penalty, I think. That's a slowdown penalty that he just took there, and as a result of that, everybody's gonna go by. Ruola's gonna take the lead. Uwe Tringright in the second place, trying around the outside. Let's see if Uwe can take back his pole position, and looking to the inside of the second corner. No, Ruola takes a very wide line around the outside. He can get a better exit this way. They're still side by side with with Arturas Kundelis and Jouko Leskela now in the back of this queue, and finally it's Uwe who muscles his way through the inside and takes the lead. That was jättebra by Uwe, but see what Ville will do, see what Alex will do, and Arturas and Jouko as well. This is a fantastic battle, and I should mention, Joey, it's April Fool's Day. These are Audis with a Nissan livery and vice versa, and that is just...
You know, it even caught me out because I'm just so used to seeing the paints in their stock form. I didn't even put one and one together, so, you know, props to the GSRC squad for even pulling one over on me out here. And this is a fantastic battle. I want to keep the camera right here because this GTO battle is something else. 5 cars all separated by what looks like less than a second on the racetrack. Ove Trenggrade out front, Villarola out there second place, Alex Ott third, Arturas Kundelis and Jouko Leskela. I feel like any one of these front 5 cars really has the speed and the skill to win this race here.
Yeah, and as we see, Alex Ott looking a little bit to the inside, trying to get some fresh air. Jouko Leskela was really slow out of the casino hairpin, and he has a little bit of damage to the front of his car as well. He has in the right side, right front of his car, it's pointing down just a little bit. There's a bit of damage. And Jouko is on raw pace, probably has been the fastest driver in this series for a good bit now. So he's working at a disadvantage, and he wasn't like the fastest driver in qualifying either. So that's really gonna hamper his chances. I wonder, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how he works around this problem. Now his car control he's an absolute savant when it comes to car control. This man can control anything. Give him a car with 3 wheels and he's gonna be fine, as we see some Nissan battles as well.
There's Seamus Power running too deep in the final chicane, and you are allowed to do that. However, iRacing will give you a slowdown penalty. Says, hey, you know what, you got to give up the time that you made by shortcutting the course, but you will be able to go on and continue. And this is our lead battle. Michael de Turk chasing Aitor Sintez Galindo, and this is about the time that we're seeing the GTP and GTO overlap, having to navigate around some of the back of the GTO field, and that condenses things in this battle. Really brings Michael right up on the back spoiler of Aitor, but one thing I've noticed from watching this the last handful of laps is that Michael's car isn't necessarily the best through the turns and twisty bits. He's really capitalizing on the straight line speed, so let's see what kind of exit de Turk gets out of this hairpin. Looks like pretty clean, and now is when his car comes into its strength here on this racetrack.
Yeah, I wonder if it's strong enough to catch up to Aitor Sintez Galindo, who is really taking a page out of Gernot Fritzsche's book. Remember Gernot Fritzsche? The Lotus 79 multiple-time champion.
Oh yeah, who can forget Gernot? And I mean, not just Lotus 79, but all over the place with these historic cars. Really one of the best on the service with these things.
Yeah, known for his Lotus 79 exploits, though, primarily. And I remember he always, well, back in his prime, and I got to see his prime, he was very good in qualifying. That was his calling card. But then in race conditions, he would take a really low downforce setup. Not the fastest setup on track, mind you. Just not the, not in terms of lap times, but in places like Interlagos, Autodromo José Carlos Pacé, for example. And even in places like Montreal, he would run a low downforce setup, a real high top speed setup. And even if it wasn't fast in the corners, nobody could pass him, because he was just pulling a little bit away on the straights. And that's what we call in Finnish community a troll setup. It wasn't really for trolling or making fun of anybody, it's just a really solid race strat, and I wonder if Aitos now has a similar idea in his mind, because Michael really wasn't catching that much up to him in the straight line, and as a result of that he's now dropped over 1 second back, and it's gonna be very difficult to overtake if you don't make a mistake, and that's a key part of it. If you don't make a mistake and the other car is faster on the straights, where do you pass?
Well, and not only that, but you combine that with the nature of the circuit, how tight it is. you can't force too wide passing and use that downforce and high-speed sweeping corners that the GTP cars are known for, just simply because there isn't that section on the racetrack. And you see Michael the Turk getting held up, having to go around the outside of a lot of these Audi GTO cars, and you see him physically losing ground to our leader. And actually the biggest, oh, he's got problems. I don't know if he got tapped from the Audi or if he just got in too deep. Great save from Michael de Turk out there. Did Aaron Humphrey get into the back of him there?
No, that was Aaron Humphrey who had the save.
It was Aaron Humphrey. I am so sorry. It was Aaron Humphrey with the great save out there going into, I believe that was turn 4 on the racetrack. And I think it's just going to get busier and busier and busier because they're coming up to the heart of the GTO field now. And I got to tell you, it's tough to tell these cars apart and trying to, you know, bring out their numbers. April Fools, I guess, on me.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is the one downside. Okay, I appreciate you, and I think it's the Camel GT community's idea, to be honest, to do this, because I saw some chatter earlier on about something regarding the paints, and didn't expect this, didn't see this coming. So the one downside is that now that every car, well, almost every car looks the same, at least near the front, it's kind of difficult to keep track on who's who, but then again, those used to the Formula 1 scene will be familiar with that. Now with the Red Bull liveries being ahead of everybody, before that it was Mercedes domination and so on. I still got nightmares about red cars because of that. I grew up in 2000s.
Nightmares about the cars looking the same, but here's Ian Haycock's actually one of our onboard cameras today, and Ian's one of our regular competitors out here and having to deal with some pressure behind him right here, get that awesome shot. And if you notice, he's only got one foot going on and unfortunately lost the other in a motorcycle accident, but has not let that slow him down at all. He's using hand controls as well as the brake and really does an amazing job. But Ian Haycock's inside the top 10, 8th place right now.
Yeah, and that's really, really impressive to see. I'm looking at the plants in the background. Is that a real plant or is that plastic? It was suspiciously green, but I wonder if it indeed is a real plant. But yeah, I mean, racing with one foot, it's gotta be so difficult. The one upside is that he's used to motorcycling clearly, so he knows roughly how to operate the throttle with your hand. Because if you've never done that, I know you've done a lot of car racing, but have you ever actually ridden a motorcycle, like at pace?
Oh yeah, and actually check this out. Timothy Reed, huge slipstream on Laust Olsen. Gets that pass done going into that final chicane. And yes, to that point, I have ridden plenty of motorcycles because us drivers are quite lazy creatures, so we always want a pit bike in the paddock. So I got plenty of time on motorcycles.
I see, yeah. Okay, well, having run some dirt bikes in the past, nothing much, but, you know, a little bit. The most difficult thing is like getting used to, like, right, your hand is now at the throttle, your hand is on the brake, your legs really do shifting usually, and kind of sometimes do a little bit more than that, but usually it's more about the shifting. And if you're talking about circuit racing, then you're leaning into the corners with your knee down and stuff like that. But it's really different to car racing, where you just your legs are doing a lot of the work. Really, you're doing the throttle, the brakes, and in some cases the steering as well with your feet.
Yeah, no, it is definitely, you're using more of your limbs for those control inputs. And I think that these GTP cars feel like they're having to use the Audis a little bit like a motorcycle and dodge in between and out of the fuselage, around the exhaust of each of them. But this is coming up through our GTO leaders right now. Timothy Reed riding on board with 5th in GTP. And you see the closing rate difference once you're really allowed to open these machines up and then...
Oh, lead change. No, never mind, sorry. Go on.
No, yeah, I saw that as well. I think it was just timing and scoring glitching out a little bit, but I don't think that GTO battle's really gone anywhere. I know it kind of stretches out with traffic, but Ove Trangrade still has plenty in his mirrors.
Yeah, and we just had a car in the wall. I just saw out of the commentary booth window, Hugh Haycock, who we see here, just clapped the wall in the Wall of Champions, actually. So that's one of the first casualties of the day, definitely not the first, but one of the first, and we'll see a replay of it here. And this is going to be a really classic Wall of Champions incident, as you can seat, Joey. We're running on board of him, running on the passenger seat, which in England would be the driver's seat. But he is, of course, registered as a French driver, so it's the passenger seat. And he's gonna be missing the apex a little bit here, just running over the curb and nothing you can do there, just slamming into the wall. And that's a really difficult angle to slam into the wall too, because it's you're just clobbering that right front tire into the wall. So if you hit a wall, you want to hit it side on or head on directly or back on, but never at an angle, because if you're hitting it at an angle, you're just risking the suspension of the car, you know, the bearings and whatnot, and the car's gonna be at an awkward angle really, and he's struggling with it a little bit, but at least he keeps going, so that's good.
This is that lead battle in GTO with these Nissan Audis out here on the racetrack, and Ove Trangrade, qualified on pole, still leads out front and is actually starting to stretch it out just a little bit. When I say stretched out, I only mean about 3/4 of a second over Vili Roila out there, and got more GTP cars coming through. And I want to give a little shout out to Ove, actually. He had a tough time in the Lotus 49 race, qualified really poorly, but drove up towards the top 5. I think this is a little bit of a revenge race for Ove, qualifying on pole and really flexing his muscle right now.
Yeah, and he's really doing well. I saw him earlier on in this lap into turn number 1, locking up the brakes a little bit and going a little bit too fast in there. Got away with it that one time, but otherwise doing a solid job. But it is classic Uwe trademark, is driving the car a little bit over driving the car at times, and that's often costing him results. But then again, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as we see a Nissan battle there. And I believe this is for position number 3 between Humphrey and Youngblood.
Yeah, Aaron Humphrey must have made a mistake or something, because this battle has definitely closed in, or Fabian Youngblood has some killer laps recently, and right now Fabian looking to steal away that final spot on the podium here from Aaron Humphrey, and has a pretty good run. I don't think he's close enough to make a late brake move going down into turn 1 this time, but it's all about getting closer and closer and closer and starting to apply that pressure. You see Aaron Humphrey run a little bit wide on that corner exit. Fabian Youngblood, you know he's seeing that every single time, and he's just kind of licking his lips. Little bit closer, and then finally you will be able to make that move, but right now the hunt is on for 3rd place.
Yeah, what you want to get him to do here is you want to get Humphrey to defend his position. So as long as when you can coax the driver ahead of you out of the line, force him to a defensive line, that's when you really have to battle at least half one. And I know it sounds weird because taking a defensive line is standard defensive strategy really. But of course the fastest line around the racetrack is the racing line. It's the optimal racing line. You know this very well, Joey, being a racing driver, and as such, when you can force somebody to defend on the inside line, for example, take a tighter line into the corner, and especially in here where you got so many chicanes that are extremely line dependent, you're just making the track more difficult for yourself. And as a result of that, Youngblood, and that's Humphrey crumbling under the pressure. That was way too tight.
Oh, a wall of champions bites again. This time our 3rd place runner, Aaron Humphrey, just gets it all wrong in the final chicane and nose first heavy into that tire bundle. Gonna watch it clear as day here on this GSRC replay. Gonna ride on board. He's now down in 5th place and didn't have his mirrors full at the time, but Ozzy, I think he just goes in too deep. We're gonna see if he jumps this left side curb or what happens exactly.
That just misses the apex, jumps the left side curb, and then hits the wall. And this is Kamel GT series, and that chicane had 1 hump, so it's a dromedar.
1 hump versus 2 humps, and looks like we've got a lead change almost up here in GTO. Vili Roila out there trying to get around Ove Trangrade in the number 12 car, and faux teammates out here, lots of them for April Fools.
Yeah, lots of similar liveries. That blue and red looks really good on the Audi, I must say. And vice versa. I've been like, it's really weird but it also looks absolutely excellent. Now let's see how long Uwe can hold on to that leading position. We see a couple of mistakes. Oh, and there's a car sideways, actually, after that chicane, and that would be Ivan Olesiak Ayoso, who was in 10th place, but is now absolutely wrecked. His number 22 machine, trying to get it back going, but in a really precarious position. Meanwhile, we are watching Uwe and Ville, as we should be, and they are still fighting for the lead. But while they have been trading lap times and dueling for the lead, they have also managed to drop back everybody. Remember that 5-car pack? Well, it's now a 2-car pack. It's just Uwe and Ville, and then Ott 2 seconds away you got Jouko, over 4 seconds away, who just got past Kundelis a couple of laps ago, and Arturas Kundelis now almost 5 seconds back from the lead.
It's definitely stretched out a little bit. Look at the timer also, Ozzy. We're just past halfway in this race, about 19 minutes remaining, so I think this is kind of the meat and potatoes. We've seen the GTP cars go through the GTOs, and looks like Jamie Hamill-Smith trying to get around. I'm sorry, this is Jack David Spickett going around Rob Olnichek there and getting another position up. And actually looks like maybe some slowdowns, maybe some damage going involved with a few of these cars. I know that it's tricky to keep the car on the track with some of the slowdowns and easy to cut chicanes out there if you run too wide or too narrow. But I think getting back to it, just through halfway here, Ozzy, GTPs are going to be coming through again. You never know what's going to happen with that GTO battle because the accordion effect, as soon as you introduce the multi-class, the accordion can just condense right back up.
It absolutely can. That's like if you get a little bit of a bad batch of traffic, you have to sit behind an Audi. As an GDP, you have to sit behind an Audi for just a couple of corners, and that's it. You can lose easily a couple of seconds. You got places here where you really want to make that overtake before the corner, but if you can't, then you just have to wait until the exit, and it might be so narrow that you can't really pull alongside at the exit either, unless the Audi in front is really cooperative with that one. And they have no incentive to do that. They have no requirement to be cooperative, extremely so, but many will be because they're not only gentlemen, but it's also mutually beneficial to be as cooperative as possible. So you see Michael de Turk here. We are running on board with him. He's now caught a little bit back up to the leader, Aitor Sintes-Galindo. And I must say, for Aitor, this is really one of the most impressive races I've seen him do, like ever. He's been really solid, really consistent, hasn't made any big errors, and doesn't seem to be too flustered by the pressure of our series championship leader either.
No, and you got to remember, Aitor's only 1 point back. This is really kind of, I would call it a tie in the championship points coming in here. And look at this. We're going to be going through the GTO traffic one more time. And remember, the traffic can give and it can also take away just like that. Looks like our leader actually was able to navigate those few Audis there without any issue. It's Michael de Turk that's actually going to get slowed up just a little bit on corner exit there. Looks like Michael actually lost up to almost a second, about 0.8 of a second going through traffic there. And I mentioned that can happen with the GTO lead battle, just like how it stretched out this GTP front battle. Things can happen, and we still got 16.5 minutes left here. And trust me, the Wall of Champions, I don't feel it is done yet. I think it's still got a little bit of a hungry belly.
Yeah, it's always hungry. Oh, and that's Jouko Leskala. He's been into the wall, yeah. And Jouko, is he the next casualty of the Wall of Champions? He is one champion, and certainly Kristen in that wall for today, trying to catch back up to Arturas. Let's see what happened here. So he's gonna come, of course, to the casino straight. And that's where it's all gonna go wrong for Jouko. And this is a weird one. This is quite unlike the usual ones we see. He's gonna take really aggressive with the right side curb here, then just gonna oversteer to the second apex, spin around, somehow hold it, get tagged back up by Arturas, and then get back going. And I tell you what, that hit, it may have damaged his car, but I think he was still fortunate to be hit in that light manner and get back up going, because otherwise he would have been sideways for a long time in a car that's impossible to turn around in tight quarters, because it's a four-wheel drive car, so you can't just spin it around. you have to really like do that Austin Powers 11-point turn to get it around while race cars are approaching. So that was really a silver lining as we see Philippe Savoy and Jose Delgado fighting for position ahead of a Nissan, and that's really one of those places where the Nissan driver will be like, come on guys, get it started already.
Yeah, and they stay side by side right now, and hopefully this GTP, through the middle here, they're aware of that faster car and make room for him. Just another casual day out here in the Camel GT series. Cars blasting up through the middle. And to talk about that incident, it looks like Hugo Leskola as well as Arturas Kundelis both have damage on their race car, so they're going to be coming into pit, and that's pretty much going to be day over for a couple of our runners in the top 5 in GTO now definitely taken out of this race. You see him come in, go up on Jackson, have to get some of that damage fixed, but looking back out on the racetrack is still Philippe Savoy.
Oh, and Timothy Reed has spun into the main straight. Car number 8. And he's just managed to get it back going. And if it's a replay of this one, this is a really, really weird one. Now, Tim's been nursing a damaged car for a while now, and it's impressive that he was able to stay in 4th position despite that. But listen in here, he's gonna come really slowly, tentatively, and 10 on the exit, just boom, just turbo things.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes turbo lag, I consider it just anticipation for what's about to happen. And right there, it all happened at the wrong time on corner exit. You also see that damage that you're talking about on the left rear. I don't think it's helping his case at all, especially when he tries to go to that gas pedal, rely on those back tires, and they're just not doing what he wants them to. And right now, Ove Trengrade, maybe the biggest gap that he's had over Villi Roila all day, up to 0.8 of a second. And a little bit of a lockup going there into our first series of corners. So Ove still pushing the limits out there.
Yeah, he is, and he's just trying desperately to stay ahead of Ruola, who's been on him all day long, and he knows how to apply pressure. I mentioned earlier about being mentioned by the famous man from Pori, Finland, Joni Hagner, who won the Audi Championship multiple times. I remember a couple of seasons back, well, a couple of years back actually, this is going way back in time. I should grab my pipe and my rocking chair for this one. Joni was the fastest driver in Audi by like 1.5 to 2 seconds. And he was mentoring in Glacier Racing a young driver called Ville Ruola, or an up-and-comer called Ville Ruola, who we see behind Uwe now. And mostly because he was like sharing his setups and whatnot, and just really trying to get somebody to challenge him also in this series. But yeah, he taught him the tricks, and one of Joni's greatest assets was his absolutely brilliant racecraft. He was a wild driver in the same sense that Uwe was. Like, you know, over the course of a flying lap, he can be absolutely wild. He's a setup genius, but he's also like has this weirdly, he walks to the beat of his own drummer, but has a brilliant, absolutely genius racecraft, being able to do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do, and knowing when to be over-aggressive and when to be really passive, when to lull somebody into false sense of security and when to just attack. And I think Ruola is taking some notes from there, opening his black book of notes as Jason Clapper is going past Martin Krejcik and really trying to, you know, tire Uwe, taking this into a long distance battle, a long time battle, and waiting for that one big mistake.
Check this out, Seamus Power now trying to jump in the open door that Martin Krejcik left out there, and around the outside this is going to come to an acceleration battle. Looks like Martin's going to hang on to the 7th place position as Seamus now tucks back in line. And you saw Jason Clapper outbrake Martin Krejcik going into the final chicane. And I think Martin just got hung out there on the marbles and took him a little bit of time to get back going. And that closed Seamus Power right back to his back end, as well as Timothy Reed, who we're riding on board with right now. We highlighted a few of those problems that the number 8 car had early on, but he's back out on track. He's trying to get this race done, and this is a battle for the 7th place position. That 10 minutes remaining here, and this is Seamus once again getting all back on Martin Krajcek, but let's see what the run can be coming out of this final hairpin here about this top-end speed. And Ozzy, looks like some damage on a few of these cars. We'll see who's damaged the least. It looks like Timothy Reed has some pretty good top-end speed in comparison to Seamus Power. He's going to get that one done even before the chicane.
Yeah, and manages to get it slowed down as well, and doesn't spin on the exit either. But you can see Power really able to, well, put down the power on the exit of the corner, and that's what Reed's been struggling with. We saw him spin at the final chicane earlier. Oh, and Reed once again going very wide in the first corner, and he spun on the next lap as well, had a lazy half spin. We didn't get it on the cameras, but he had that one too, and he lost more positions. That's why he's all the way back now into 8th place, and he's really struggling with the rear tires, it seems, because both of those spins, they were on the exit of the corner. And now you can see that he's got the top speed in that car. He's got a high top speed setup, but he's also got damage on the left rear of the car, not helping his lack of downforce at all. And if he is struggling with those rear tires, he has to really pay attention to them at every single exit, really have to tender foot it. It's kind of like having an egg under your throttle pedal.
Yes, that's a common reference. The egg under the throttle, and if you push that throttle pedal too much, you will crack that egg underneath you. You got to be very careful not to spin the tires, as you're checking out a GTO car that kind of was getting muscled around a little bit. Jose Delgado, getting back out on the racetrack, has had a rough couple corners between that third chicane and then also the final hairpin. But check this out. Our GTO lead definitely hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, it's closed up. Vili Rola now under the back wing of Ove Trengrade, and 8 minutes remaining. Time is starting to run out. Does Vili have the speed to go up there and make a move on our leader?
Yeah, Ove was locking up the brakes earlier on this lap once again, and now Ville really starting to hound him, noticing there's 8 minutes left on the clock. There's still time, but there's no time to doodle about. There's no time to be lazy. You have to be on it, getting closer and closer, as we see a fantastic battle here with the Audis now heading off turn number 2 and going towards the first of the chicanes. Jamie Hamill-Smith, Jack David Spigot, Rob Olenek trying to challenge him around the outside. Rob, however, going a little bit too wide, and as a result of that, taking that Toyota liveried car actually through a trip on the grass. However, no damage done there. The damage has been done earlier that you see on the front of his machine. And I love these 80s liveries. I'm swooning over them. I'm sorry.
Well, here's Aaron Humphrey and Laust Olsen. Aaron trying to get up, or I'm sorry, to defend from Laust right now, as Laust is trying to get up into the top 4 positions. Right on board here. One of our onboard cameras, this number 15 car, always signs on and gives us a view of the pucker cam out here. When he gets a lot of pressure back there, he has a tendency to pucker up a little bit, but right now it's Laust applying the pressure to Aaron Humphrey. Aaron slipping back a little bit this race. Started up 3rd, now currently running 4th, and Laust up 1 position, trying to get up there to 4th place. And really good run from Laust. 6 minutes left. Things are starting to run out and more traffic up ahead. See how these cars are able to navigate just the single Audi. Looks like they're both able to clear them just fine heading into the chicane. Not having to worry about it one bit. And actually looking at our leader in GTP, I'm seeing it's under 1 second now up front. Michael de Turk closing it back in on Aitor Sintes Galindo. So both our GTO and GTP leads have yet to be settled.
Yeah, it's like a fine wine, this race. Just ages so well. Both leads 0.6 of a second separating first and second. Aitor Sintes Galindo and Michael de Turk fighting it out for the overall glory, as well as fighting it out with those Nissans that look like Audis for today, but rest assured, they are Nissans indeed. And let's see if Michael de Turk can pull those tricks out of his bag. He's got some traffic to help him with, and I wonder if that's gonna be a benefit or a curse. You have a chance to lose time, you have a chance to gain time. Looks like Aitor will be getting past the Audi here before the next chicane, having to brake behind the Nissan. Now Michael is gonna have to hold back through the chicane. You can see how slow the Audi is in comparison. Thankfully, it's a little bit of a slower corner, so Michael doesn't lose too much time. And really having trouble with the lapped car is either Sintes Galindo or Tommi Kalliokujala, who was being lapped here in 11th place, and Michael de Turk able to catch up. Not quite close enough this time around, but stay tuned because this one is going to be good. 5 minutes to go and 2 lead battles. Wow.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Aitor hit the lap car at all, but I tell you what, it was close, and actually looks like Michael might have a little bit of front-end damage on his machine, but this is as close as de Turk has ever been. Is he close enough to make a Hail Mary going down into the first chicane? No, he thinks better of it, but check this out. With that big rear wing of that Audi, you could literally crawl up underneath that thing, and Michael having to deal with some of that power exit acceleration, getting a big loose moment, wagging the tail of his Nissan coming out of these corners, and he's just got to stay tucked up. I really feel like Michael has struggled through this middle section of the racetrack, and he needs both of the straightaways to kind of close up with the help of that slipstream.
Yeah, it's a lot of medium speed corners in there, and he's getting a lot of dirty air off that Nissan as well, so he's not quite as... he doesn't have the downforce that Aitor has through those corners. And compare that with the current situation, which is the tires are absolute toast at this point of the race. We've been racing for over 35 minutes now, and it's gonna lead to some interesting situations. Can Rob Olenek stay out of the way? Yes, he can, and as a result of that, Michael will be able to get past him. Not able to get on the power as early as he would have liked, but still decent enough. They're passing now Hamel-Smith and Spigot. And let's see if the Turk can get past him before the corner. No, he can't, so he has to wait around once again. And look at that long wait behind the Audis, having to brake so early. Just cannot really jump in there. You cannot do a Hail Mary there. You're wrecking everybody at that point. And now all of a sudden it opened up to almost 2 seconds by just one unlucky moment with the lapped car, one unlucky timing, and it's opened right back up. But this one is not opening up. No, it's closing still.
No, yeah, you saw Michael de Turk really get balked by the traffic, but Villirola out here trying to get it done, trying to steal this victory away from Ove Trengrade. Now, Villi's up 2 positions, started back there, I believe, in 4th place, so up to 2nd right now, and just closing in on the tire tracks. We're noticing 2.5 minutes left on the clock right here, but it's all dependent on our GTP leaders on when they cross. So I believe these GTO cars might have up to 3 laps remaining. So time is ticking away, but plenty close right now between our front 2. And this is actually looking out the back of Jamie Hamel-Smith at Jack David Spigot, trying to get up in there. They're both inside the top 10, but fighting for 9th.
Yes, they are, and what a fantastic view. And you see Jamie Hamel-Smith building himself a real cockpit and driving with virtual reality glasses. Now, I have comments about those shoes. You're not on a construction site, you're driving a race car. Get some shoes that are less thick, but doesn't seem to be too bothered by that. In fact, they make him move down to the inside, and then taking the position away is Spigot. And Hamel-Smith is now looking to get that one back in number 30. What a result would that be? And just looking alongside there, trying to find out if he can make it past to the inside. He can almost get the overlap, but he spins. He can get his back turned around, however. 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, just stamp on the throttle, losing position to Rob Olenek, however. And wow, that's one of the consequences that can happen when you go too wide into the corner. Just a little bit deep on the corner entry by Spigot. Just a tiny tap to the quarter panel, and you know what that can do to the balance of a race car.
Yeah, it definitely upset it there. And one thing I was noticing about that was he had a motion rig there and using virtual reality. Pretty cool setup from Jamie Hamel-Smith out there. Always cool to see the variety of different rigs and everyone's different setups. And right now, this is our leader, Aitor Sintes Galindo right now. Still getting pressure from Michael de Turk. It's all about catching the traffic at the right time. He's got to navigate a few more GTO cars, but check out the time remaining. He's just got to keep it together for one more lap here at Circuit Villeneuve as We're getting 1 lap remaining. You see Michael de Turk doing everything he can right now to stay in touch, and actually our leader is going to get held up by Haycox a little bit, and check this out. This brings de Turk right up to the back end, and oh, Michael almost loses it. What a save, but that's really going to stretch out this battle.
Yeah, man, that was excellent save. He almost threw it to the wall there, but now he really needs to take a hurry. Ian Haycock just jumping out of the way, knowing the situation, knowing, okay, that was the leader, here comes the second place, not intended to mess that up. Meanwhile, Uwe and Ville are ever closer, and I just checked something out about Ville Ruola. His last race in Camel GT in this car, 19th of February 2022. It's been over a year, and what a comeback it would be. There's only one man standing between Ville Ruola and the perfect comeback. Can he make something happen on the final lap?
Well, and these GTO cars are coming around to get the white flag right now. Our GTP leader has not caught them, so they're going to have a full lap left remaining, but our GTP leader is heading down the Casino Straight. Michael de Turk doing everything he can to distract him. I actually think he's saying, good race, Aitor. All he's got to do is get through the wall of champions. Nice and clean. He sees that checkered flag. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Aitor Sintes Galindo.
Yep, and they just dropped everybody back. Fabian Youngblood is the next one to finish in the GDPs, and he's still on the Casino Straight. He drove a good, solid, consistent race as well, Fabian. Really able to stand on that podium, which is always excellent at Montreal, but no chance to match the pace of the leading duo today. Aitor and Michael were in a class of their own, but great job by Fabian as well. However, it's really the Audis that we are still kinda on the edge about, even if Ville has seemed to lose some time on the last lap.
It looks like he lost a little bit of time, as well as the GTP car might have separated. Ooh, but big lockup from Trengrade in the final hairpin. I think he's plenty clear of Ville, though. Not going to have to worry about it one bit. All Trengrade's got to do is hold it together through the final chicane one more time, and he will be collecting the checkered flag here. But trust me, it's a lot easier said than done. We've seen the Wall of Champions bite competitors all day. Looks like Ove gonna make it through there. He sees that checkered flag. Trengrade taking home the win in GTO.
What a drive from Uwe, and what a drive from Ville as well. They battled all race long, but it was Uwe Trengrade who is able to break the seal and win here in Camel GT. And just a tiny shout out, well, not just tiny, but a large shout out to Alex Ott as well, who was able to beat a lot of experienced driver to finish out the top 3 in the Audi class, and he was only a couple of seconds behind Trengrade and Ruola in the end, so he really took a challenge to them and put a big marker on this man's name. Alex Ott, someone to put behind your ear to remember.
It looks like we're trying to get a little bit of celebration out here on the racetrack, a little bit of Ukuleskala drift style, although he's trying to get it going. Get some big smoky drifts, and we're going to take a quick break and be right back with your official results. Well, now that Ozzy and I have our Canadian poutine from the concession stand, we'll get to our finishing results with Aitor Sintes Galindo coming out on top here with your overall race winner. And taking that win in the GTP class, Michael de Turk, with a valiant effort there, comes home second place, less than a second and a half behind the lead. Fabian Jungbluth standing on the last step of the podium. Klaus Olsen with a good run there in fourth. Aaron Humphrey comes home with the top 5, and Jason Clapper, our biggest mover of the GTPs, up 9 positions to 6th place. Martin Krajcek coming home 7th, Timothy Reed 8th, Seamus Power 9th, Brendan Lim 10th place. A few more here, Tommy Kaleo Kubala there in 11th place, and then these further down GTP cars had some issues. Ivan Ayuso, Oli Martyr, John Keefe, and Pablo Suarez with DNFs out there.
And in the GTO class, the Audi's Uwe Trengride taking the victory just 0.8 of a second ahead of Ville Ruola, who was making his comeback in style. Alex Ott rounding out the top 3 with Hugh Haycox, just able to inch ahead of Ian Haycox. 4th and 5th for those guys. Ralph Seidel in 6th, and you got Philip Savoy in 7th place. Jack David Stickett ahead of Jamie Hamill-Smith. We entered the battle between those two all race long, and Rob Olenek rounding out the top 10 with a couple of interesting names on the next page. You got Jose Delgado, Javier Del Olmo, Jim McGill, Victor Santana, Kevin Binkley, and take a look at these two. Arturas Kundelis, Jouko Leskela coming together around halfway through the race, both ending up retired from the top 5, and that's gonna throw the championship right back open once again. Carlos Fonseca, the last driver classified in the Audi field, and I do believe we got some eager camelists waiting to be talked with.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out if they're single hump or double hump camels, but we're going to start with our winner, Aitor Sintes Galindo. Congratulations on the win today.
Thank you. It's been a long time since the last win. I will check it right now, August 21st, 2022. I'm so happy to be here talking about this. Oh my goodness, it was a tough one today.
Well, yeah, it was definitely tough, but let's start at the beginning here because you qualified on pole. It was Michael de Turk that was laying down some flyers, but you stole it away there at the end of qualifying. And then from the race, he was tucked up under your spoiler pretty much the whole time. How much pressure was he applying?
Let's just say I'm still trembling. I'm still trembling from all the pressure he put on me. It's very difficult. I know Michael is very good with Nissan, and I was like, I need to not make any sort of mistake, not even the smallest one. Fortunately, I could make it home, but yeah, today it was very tough with the Audis, the Nissan, even the connection. I dropped for a couple of seconds, and my heart skipped a little bit there. It was like, please no, but fortunately it came back. But yeah. Very well done, Michael. But yeah, I'm still trembling.
We actually caught that momentary lapse. Ozzy was over here saying there was a lead change, but then all of a sudden your name popped back up on timing and scoring, and there you were. So happy that got settled out there for you. But talking about the championship, okay, so there's been 3 races so far. You came in 1 point behind Michael. Now you won. He got second. Is this what we should expect for the rest of the remaining season?
It's very tough, honestly. I would say that I'm very dependent on the drivers that came in the race. For example, today there was no Matthew today. Matthew wasn't here today. It was like it was so quick, and I was like, well, if he came here today, he was going to win, but he didn't win. It's what happens is because there are so many quick people, very quick people that sort of come and go sometimes, and I was like, I'm very dependent on these guys. If they appear, I'm not gonna win. So, but today, Michael is still very fast guy in many ways, but yeah, very dependent on the grid today.
Well, Aitor, just give yourself a little bit of credit here. You just won Camel GT at Circuit Villeneuve. And before I let you go and celebrate, anybody you want to say hi to?
Absolutely. You guys for the broadcast, family, friends are watching, my teammates, and thanks for Ferran and Laus. Both of you made this possible. And thanks the Camel community and happy April Fool's Day. It's not a shame that I had to win with the Audi skin, but still a win is a win. So yeah, thanks guys, and see you next week at Nürburgring.
Awesome. Well, that was your winner, Aitor Sintes Galindo. Very, very happy to bring home that chicken dinner. Looks like Ozzy's caught up with our third place GTO finisher.
Yes, sir. We got Alex Ott here, who finished in third place in the GDO class. So, Alex, it was a wild race for you guys. Now, first of all, before we get to the race proper, how did it feel to drive a Nissan for a change?
Well, I drive the Nissan pretty often, but this time my Nissan had a really bad gearbox and it sounded like an Audi.
Oh my! I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Okay, but podium finish here at Montreal. You had a great battle there, top 5 close together. Jouko had some issues there. He's usually very fast with this car. Same thing happened with Arturas Kundelis. So, at which point were you confident that, okay, I'm going to get a podium here today?
Well, at first, I think Javier and I think also Yuko got a slowdown. So I profited from that. Then I could follow Ville and Ove. But I had Arturas behind me in the beginning, and I knew I was a little bit faster, so I could keep him behind. But then Yuko overtook him, so I had to take a lot of risk to stay with Ove and Ville and keep the gap to Yuko. But then I don't know what happened, but they both disappeared from a relative, and then I just consolidated P3 because I was making some mistakes. So I knew I couldn't catch those guys anymore. So P3, I'm very happy.
Well, I know this sounds unbelievable, but Jouko actually made a driver error in the last chicane and half spun around and took Arturas with him. But regardless, it was a clever plan from you. So we saw a lot of drivers struggling all over the racetrack. Just one final question. How was it out there? How were the conditions like? Was it more difficult than usual in this cool weather, or was it exactly as hard as you expected?
The grip on track was good, but Montreal is with the multiclass also. I have to say the Nissans were very, very patient today, that I have to say. But the track was fine, but you have to be careful not to hit the wall or understeer in the wall, or some curbs you can't take too much because you get slowed down or spin. So it was really difficult, but managed to get P3, so I'm pretty happy with that.
And you should be very happy with that. It's a good effort. Congratulations for the podium. And before we let you go, if there's anyone you would like to give a shout out to, then feel free to do so.
Yeah, congratulations to Ove and Aitor and the Camel community for hosting these awesome racing. And you guys for the broadcast, thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for the interview, and good luck for the next race.
Thank you.
That was Alex Ott, our third place finisher in GTO, and now we're going to bring in Michael de Turk, second place finisher in GTP. And Michael, wow, what a race, but what did you need to go up there and steal that win away?
Man, Aitor drove a great race. He was really consistent, and he had great corner exits and good top speed. And I was kind of in a weird place where I didn't have quite as good of corner exit and didn't have quite as much top speed as him. So I really needed to take pole, and unfortunately, on the second lap, I kind of botched the final chicane into the wall of champions. So that's really what put me off there and put me on a back foot just to start the race.
Well, and I'm not sure if you noticed, I went back and looked at it. I think it was lap 7 or so, maybe a little bit of netcode phantom damage gave you a tough front right car to handle with. And did you notice that at all out there with affecting your pace?
That might explain a little bit of the difference in straight line speed to Ator. Montreal is so tough because it's just so slippery. The car doesn't want to turn in, and it has no traction on corner exit, on any corner exit. So, I'm not sure that affected me as much as some driving mistakes in terms of car versus driver.
Well, and let's talk about championship a little bit here. I know it's early on, but things are starting to shape up here. You came in here in the lead, but only 1 point ahead of Ator, and now with him taking the top spot, you find yourself back in second place. I asked him this, is this what we should expect between you and him throughout the season?
If I make it through the whole season, yeah. I think he and I usually race each other really well. We're usually pretty clean. We're similar pace. I enjoy racing with him, so I think we usually have a pretty good time. I would not be surprised to see us trade pole positions and dice it out on track after that.
Well, and looking forward to next week. I know you just mentioned if you can make the whole championship, you're going to be around next week.
Yes, I will at least be here the next 2 weeks. After that, who knows? I hope to, but we'll see.
Awesome. Well, Michael, this is your chance to say hi to anybody you want to.
Thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to the GTOs for, well, actually, they were Nissans today. They weren't GTOs. Thanks to them for for giving space to us on corner entry. I know it's challenging for both classes, but I think we worked out really well today.
Awesome. Well, that was Michael the Turk coming home second place overall and in GTP there. Looks like we just got a couple more quick ones. Jamie Hamel-Smith is now with Aussie.
Yes, sir. Jamie Hamel-Smith there, 9th place in the GTO class. Jamie, first question. The race was obviously interesting to watch, and you had a great result, able to finish in such a tough place in such tough conditions. But tell us about your setup a little bit. That's a VR headset, and that's a motion rig. And one question: what are those shoes? Because I was commenting about those earlier on. Are you going to a construction site, mate?
No, these are just some old shoes I use. They're great for the pedals because the soles of these are so worn out that I can feel everything perfectly. It's just an old pair of shoes I use for racing. Doesn't need to be pretty.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Performance over looks. Now, great seeing you race. How does it feel to race in such a motion rig VR setup? Do you at any point think that, hey, maybe this is not actually real, or is it completely immersive?
It just kind of blends in. It's really similar to the force feedback. It gives you extra information. When you go over curbs, you can feel them. You can feel weird spots in the track. It's not going to make you faster, but it just adds to the immersion. It's just fun.
Yeah, it looks fun. Looks certainly fun. So how was the race out there today? You were driving the Audi, and at Montreal, the walls were really close. It was tough out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to be one of the fastest guys out there today, so I just aimed for consistency and safety. I think I did that. But I knew that attrition would be an issue here, and I really didn't want to be one of the victims. So, yeah, I was just trying to be as safe as possible. Happily, though, I was able to have a cool battle there with Rob and Jack.
Yep, you were, and we watched some of that battle as well, really enjoying it. So we're going to be at Nürburgring next time around. How are you looking forward to that one?
Well, Montreal isn't one of my favorite tracks. It feels like work for me when I have to race here. But Nürburgring, I really like the track, but it's really challenging for me. It takes everything out of me to do well at Nürburgring. So I'll be putting in a little bit of practice and just kind of hoping for the best. I don't have high hopes, but I hope I can finish. I mean, another top 10 would be amazing. It would be brilliant, but we'll see what happens there. It's not one of my quickest tracks. I'm really looking forward to Road America, though.
Yeah, those are both excellent circuits. And, I thank you for the interview, Jamie, and good luck next week for Nürburgring. You're going to need it.
All right, thank you.
That was Jamie Hamel-Smith, and it looks like we got one more interview to get to real fast. Laust Olsen here joining us from position number 4. Laust, just off of the podium here, but got to be pretty happy with this race. Up another 2 positions, solid run for you.
Yeah, the end result was quite good, all things considering. I caught some damage early on, got squeezed when I was trying to go outside into turn, I don't know, 5 or something, and got squeezed up against the wall. So from that point on, my aerodynamics matched the paint scheme I had, so it was quite difficult. But I had a good race with Aaron afterwards. He looked like he had some damage also, so we were dicing it out for many laps. That was quite fun.
Now, speaking of these paint schemes, Laust, I got to tell you, you guys pulled one over on me for sure. I was confused as heck. I thought trading paints wasn't loaded up here, and I was just trying to clarify who was who out there. And was that the Camel GT community? Was that your guys' idea?
Yeah, I'm not sure who came up with the original idea, but I think Ulrik Giesen, he made the paint schemes, and yeah, we wanted to celebrate April 1st, so making some fun of it.
Well, you got me. That's for sure.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, definitely. Well, Laust, you had 2 good couple races here this morning or today, I should say, and looks like you're going to be a good points haul from this 4th place finish. You're really going to focus on the championship here in Camel, or what's going to be your goal here this season?
My goal is to improve my consistency. I've had a lot of bad weeks lately, mainly my own mistakes, and I need to clean that up before I begin to speculate in any championships. So taking a race at a time and just trying to get through without going off track or hitting someone. So yeah, just finishing as good as I can. That's the goal.
Well, keep working towards it. You always do a great job out there on the racetrack. And anybody that you want to say hi to?
I want to thank the community. It's a great place to race. And thanks to Yuri for the paint schemes for today. And thanks to you guys for the great broadcast you make. I always watch them back. I'm a little behind, but I see them all. So and it's great fun to see, and also see what happens other places in the race. You are not always aware of what is happening around you, so it's nice to see.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully get some more good finishes out of you, Laust, and see you on the podium later this year.
Thanks, I'll try.
So that's going to do it here for us on GSRC. Thanks to the team today, Ozzy, Adam, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media website and merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Remember, MTech is live right now, so go ahead, click on over to catch all the action in that race. And the next race for Camel GT is Nürburgring, Saturday, April 8th, 1 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check out all of the other broadcasts listed here. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.